Most recovery conversations start with behavior. Stop using, avoid triggers, count your days, follow the rules. But Matthew's question is different. What if addiction recovery is not only a behavior problem? What if it is also a brain change problem? That is the idea behind the 12-minute movement. Not because 12 minutes sounds catchy or because it is easy to market. Matthew says that number found him twice. First, through overdose mortality data that made him stop and pay attention. Then again, when he began studying short, consistent daily practice and the brain. And for someone who had been through 23 treatment centers, that discovery felt disruptive. He had spent years inside a model built around long assessments, long meetings, long sessions, and a constant focus on what was wrong. He said people like him get lost in that. Too much time, too much information, too much focus on triggers. And here's the problem he saw clearly. When the whole conversation is about triggers, the mind is still orbiting the thing it is trying to escape. If you keep talking about drugs, thinking about drugs, scanning for danger, and organizing your life around what might set you off, part of your brain stays on alert. That is where the amygdala comes in. The amygdala is involved in fear, threat detection, emotional reaction, and craving. It is not evil. It is trying to protect you. But in addiction and trauma, that alarm system can become overtrained. Matthew described it like this. The amygdala tries to hijack your life. And when you start a new practice, it may try to hijack that too. It tells you, you do not feel anything. This is not working. Quit. That is why the 12-minute movement is not built around chasing a feeling. It is built around repetition. 12 minutes a day. Interrupt, redirect, replace. Interrupt the thought pattern before it becomes the whole story. Redirect the mind towards something purposeful. Replace the old identity with a new practice, a new narrative, and eventually a new way of responding. Matthew said the first major shift he noticed was not fireworks. It was logic. He began making decisions logically instead of emotionally. That matters because recovery is not just surviving a craving. It is becoming someone who can respond differently when life hurts. Traditional recovery methods can help many people. Meetings, treatment centers, counseling, accountability, and community can all be meaningful. But Matthew's critique is that, for him, the system often tried to change the behavior without speaking to the organ running the behavior, the brain. He said that organ literally steers the ship. And if that is true, recovery has to include more than rule following. It has to include neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change through repeated experience. That is where the hippocampus matters too. The hippocampus is involved in memory, learning, and connecting experience into meaning. Matthew believes people in recovery need more than reminders of what they did wrong. They need help narrating their story differently. Not, what is wrong with you? But, what happened to you? Not, how many days do you have? But, what are you building with the gifts you still have? That question is personal for Matthew. After surviving a coma, he says he was confronted with a question that cut through everything. What had he done with the gifts and talents he had been given? That question did not shame him. It awakened the dreamer in him. And that is the part of the 12-minute movement that is easy to miss. It is not just about reducing craving. It is about restoring imagination. Matthew talks about music, creativity, writing, and story surfacing once he kept doing the work. Like the brain had been waiting for a new direction. The structure matters too. He talks about 4 weeks as a pivotal point when deeper inventory begins. Resentments, patterns, things that need to be faced, but maybe not on day 1, when the brain is still fighting for stability. Then around 8 weeks, he describes what he calls a name change. Not necessarily a literal name from heaven, a recognition. You begin to see things in yourself you never saw before. Strengths, gifts, evidence that you are not only the worst thing you have done, and the long-term goal is bigger. A year down the road, when something painful happens, you can show up for your family instead of taking from them again. That is the real outcome, not just abstinence, presence, not just fewer cravings, a changed response, not just counting time, becoming useful with the life you still have.